All right, welcome to another deep dive. We're taking a look at some fascinating source material today.
Indeed. Ready to jump in?
So, today we're tackling something truly universal, something that probably sits right at the core for nearly everyone, that search for profound, unconditional love, real connection.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be honest, it often feels incredibly elusive, doesn't it, for so many of us?
It really does. That's a common thread.
Okay, so we've been digging through some really powerful material for this deep dive. Sources looking into the human quest for love, the complexities of marriage.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty stuff.
Exactly. And there's a surprising perspective on how maybe spiritual understanding could be the missing piece.
That's a key theme running through it all.
So our mission really is to pull out the most important insights. How can we actually experience and extend a love that fulfills those deep longings, especially, in marriage, and connect it to this bigger kind of surprising narrative?
It's true. This quest isn't just personal. It's fundamentally human.
Mm-hmm.
And what's fascinating in these sources is they get into not just the desire for love,
Right.
but also the barriers, the subtle ways we kind of inadvertently build walls that keep us from it.
Walls we don't even realize we're building half the time.
Precisely. And they offer this really unique, profound perspective on where genuine, unwavering love might actually come from.
And the sources themselves are quite a mix, right?
Oh, yeah. We've got really personal reflections on marriage struggles, some deep theological dives into divine love, and it's all sort of anchored in historical biblical context. It's quite the journey we're mapping out.
Okay, let's start right there then with that core human thing. The longing for meaningful relationships, for loyalty, for genuine care. We all want someone who really accepts us, warts and all.
That fundamental need for acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always that caution, isn't there? That sort of self-preservation instinct. Learned hesitation, maybe, to fully invest until we're, absolutely sure we won't get burned. Understandable, given experiences.
Totally understandable. But here's the paradox the sources really highlight. That very instinct to protect ourselves, it often leads straight to the isolation we're trying to avoid.
It's ironic, isn't it?
It really is. Our emotional walls, built for safety, can block the very connection we crave. And think about it from way back, our inner voice that becomes our main authority, right? Shaping our sense of self-worth.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Leading to what sources call this profound self-reliance. And okay, independence is good, it's a strength.
Sure.
But it can also breed doubt, fear, and end up pushing intimacy away. So how do the sources even suggest we start to take down those walls?
That's a great question, and the sources really connect these dots powerfully. They suggest this deep need for love isn't just some random personal feeling.
Right.
It's described as an inherent, unspoken promise that resonates within the human heart, like this deep-seated belief that fundamentally each of us is loved and inherently valuable.
Wow. An unspoken promise. I like that.
Yeah. This hope, this sort of baseline expectation that love should be there, it drives us. But it's also why it hurts so much when it feels like it's missing.
Okay. So the struggle then becomes,
Well,
what? That big question.
exactly. That fundamental question, as one source puts it, will I ever truly experience love? A love that's constant, loyal, genuinely free from selfish motives.
Can we even find that in ourselves? Or in another person, really, long term?
Well, that's the crux of it. The sources argue pretty strongly that relying only on our own strength or even on another flawed human and listening too much to that inner critical voice paradoxically builds those barriers. It stops us from experiencing a truly secure love or even believing that a bigger, more profound love could actually exist beyond our own often, disappointing experiences. We might just be looking in the wrong places.
That makes so much sense when you think about our own internal stuff. But how does that self-reliance, that caution, play out in something like marriage, which is supposed to be the ultimate expression of love, right?
The peak, supposedly.
Yeah. And the sources share this really poignant story, an anecdote about a husband who is just hitting rock bottom in his marriage.
I remember reading that one. Very raw.
Yeah. He talks about being completely drained, juggling 4 kids, career, money stress.
The whole package.
The whole thing, and feeling utterly isolated, emotionally divorced from his wife. He described their interactions as swinging between cold avoidance and these awful emotional blow-ups.
Painful.
And his question just echoes what so many people feel. Why can't my marriage be a place of refuge, somewhere you actually want to run to, somewhere you look forward to?
Instead of running from.
Exactly. And he also mentioned that initial confusion from Genesis, two becoming one, How do two totally different people, different backgrounds, wants, needs, how does that ever merge without feeling like a constant fight? Can you imagine feeling that exhausted and just disillusioned?
Oh, absolutely. It's a powerful picture, and it leads to a really critical insight from the sources. That common advice, marriage takes work.
Yeah, everyone says it.
Right. But it can feel incredibly defeating if you're already running on empty, totally spent.
Like, great, more work.
Exactly. So it raises this vital question. If God supposedly created marriage to be very good, like Genesis says, why does it so often feel like this massive uphill battle against our own nature?
Good question. What do the sources say?
Well, they take us right back to the beginning, to the origins of marriage in Genesis 1 and 2, to the blueprint.
Okay.
First, God created mankind, male and female, in his own image. The idea being to reflect his character, love, justice, mercy, kindness, forgiveness, that desire to bless.
Right, reflecting God.
Then, Genesis 2.18, God says, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him." Now, this suitable helper, the Hebrew, is izer neged. It's crucial. It's not a lesser role, not at all.
Okay, what does it mean then?
Ezer actually means strong help, like God himself is called Israel's Ezer, their help. And neged means corresponding to him. Think like two interlocking puzzle pieces.
Ah, like a perfect fit.
Exactly. A perfect complement. Some even translate it like a spiritual battle partner. It's about divine partnership, not hierarchy or competition.
Okay, that's a different way of looking at it.
And then Adam says, "Bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." It's this profound valuing of the spouse as part of oneself. The goal: they shall become one flesh and be naked and we're not ashamed. Total safety, security, peace, intimacy without fear.
Wow. Okay, so if human love, even our best efforts and our self-reliance, often don't measure up to that ideal, where does this promise of love we feel actually get fulfilled? The sources say it must originate from a source beyond ourselves.
That's the turning point in the material.
This feels like where things get really deep. What's the practical takeaway here?
Well, the practical takeaway, quite simply, is God must show up.
Okay.
What the sources reveal is honestly breathtaking. Human marriage isn't just a social thing or even just a personal bond. It's like a living parable designed by God himself to be the ultimate, tangible way for us to understand his love for us.
Wow. Okay, so marriage is meant to be a picture of God's love.
Exactly. Imagine if your marriage is meant to reflect the very heart of the Creator. Think about what that means for how you approach every single interaction within it.
That changes everything.
It really does. And the entire Bible, really, from start to finish, tells this epic love story, often using marriage language.
Okay.
Think about Sinai.
Okay.
God rescues Israel from slavery, like a suitor, and basically proposes this exclusive, loving covenant relationship, calls them my own possession.
A marriage proposal, almost.
Pretty much. Or think about the book of Hosea, so powerful. God tells the prophet Hosea to marry an unfaithful woman.
Right, Gomer.
Yes, to vividly show his own unconditional love and forgiveness for his people, even when they strayed. And he promises them, "You will call me Ishi, my husband, and will no longer call me Bali, my master."
Ishi, not Bali. What's the difference there?
Well, the sources explain Bali could mean master, even imply a harsh owner or a pagan god. But Ishi, that's my husband. It speaks of tenderness, intimacy, partnership. It shows God wants a relationship based on love, not just duty or fear.
That's beautiful.
And then there's Ruth,
A foreigner.
redeemed through marriage by her kinsman redeemer.
Boaz.
Right, this close relative who steps in to rescue and restore. It becomes this profound metaphor for how the Messiah relates to humanity. Even Jesus' teachings, he reaffirms the one flesh idea from Genesis, and he talks about preparing a place for us, like a bridegroom getting ready for his bride.
I go to prepare a place for you.
Exactly, and it all culminates in Revelation 19 with the marriage of the Lamb.
Yeah.
The ultimate reunion of Christ and his people, the church. So you see, it's way bigger than just human marriage. It's described as the greatest love story of singular pursuit, betrayal, forgiveness, and reconciliation between God and man.
That is an incredible narrative. It really reframes the whole picture. It's not just a story, it's like the story.
That's how the sources present it.
Okay, so how does this massive divine analogy actually help us back in our own messy real-life relationships? That husband we talked about, in his moment of clarity, he realized he had to relearn to pursue and build up my wife as God explained marriage to me.
That shift in understanding was key for him.
And the sources point to Ephesians 5, right, as a passage that kind of unveils the true meaning of marriage.
Yes, Ephesians 5.2233 is central.
So husbands are called to love your wives just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself up for her. Wow. That's
Just a
a
high
lot.
calling. It means initiating, making time, building her up, forgiving, modeling Christ's selfless love.
Okay, and wives, it says, be subject to your own husbands as to the Lord, and respects her husband. How did the sources unpack that? Because subject can be a loaded word.
He can be, absolutely.
Hmm.
But the sources clarify it's not about being a doormat or subservience. It's presented as a powerful voluntary choice, a choice to provide strength in unity.
Strength and unity. Okay.
Yeah, an act of trust, vulnerability even, that actually motivates the husband to love and lead well. It's positioned as a choice rooted in faith and partnership, not coercion.
Got it. So it's reciprocal in a way.
Very much so. And that husband's realization, it shifted completely
Yeah.
from why is she treating me like this to, wait, what is she struggling with? How can I help her?
That's huge.
It transforms the whole dynamic. Marriage stops being this self-consumed quest for my own happiness and becomes this God-given opportunity to help my spouse remove the barriers, keeping them from experiencing and believing in God's love for them.
Helping them receive God's love. Wow.
That shift from getting to giving, it's
Yeah.
profound.
And what about that oneness idea? You mentioned ikad earlier.
Right, ikad in Hebrew, it's more than just two people sticking together. It's aiming for a deep, unified whole. The source is connected to the unity Jesus prayed for in John 17, reflecting the Father and Son's unity, so that ultimately, the love with which you love me may be in them and I in them. It's about divine love flowing through the relationship.
Okay. And the sources also mentioned difference by design. That men and women are different, but it's a good thing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a curse, but a blessing.
Sure.
Men are described as innate pursuers, meaning things like companionship, loyalty, intimacy. They long to hear deep down, I am yours and only yours. And they're called to be servant leaders, following Christ's example.
Okay. And women.
Women are described more as responders, needing acceptance, involvement, security, longing to hear, nobody knows you like I do. You're safe with me. They're positioned as God sent help for man, like we discussed with Iz or Neged.
So it's not just about, like, different communication styles, men being direct, women connecting more.
Right. It goes deeper. Those communication differences are real. Sure, men often task-oriented, women more validating, but seeing the deeper God-given needs beneath them turns potential friction points
Yeah.
into opportunities to intentionally serve and truly delight each other, understanding the design and appreciating how you complement each other, mirroring God's delight in us, in a way.
That's a really powerful reframe. Okay, so that husband in the source material, he got to this point where he understood he couldn't just manufacture this love for his wife out of his own strength, especially when he felt empty.
Right. He couldn't give what he didn't have.
He realized he needed to experience love myself from God, and that realization reignited my hunger to know who he is and what he did for me.
That connection was vital.
And the result he described. All of my bitterness, unfulfilled expectations, and accusations against her left. He saw himself, I was no different than her, and saw their marriage as reflecting his relationship with Christ. Imagine that weightlifting.
A huge release. And it points to a core message in the sources. When we truly rest in the secure knowledge of God's unconditional love.
When we're filled up, basically.
Exactly. We're not running on fumes anymore.
Mm.
And from that place of fullness, we can genuinely love others for their benefit, not just because we need something back. It changes the motivation entirely.
It's truly transformative.
And it reinforces another key point from the sources. God does not give me a command that I cannot fulfill. If he calls us to love like this, he also provides the means.
Oh.
If we seek him, he promises to fill me with himself. Remember Jesus in John 7, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our puddle, it's his river flowing through us.
Rivers of living water. Okay.
And the sources talk about the incredible joy and privilege we can experience in marriage, which is to have the one person we build our lives together that under our care, we see them flourish.
Seeing your partner flourish because of your care.
Yes. And that joy, the sources suggest, actually mirrors the same joy God experiences when I respond to him.
Mm.
It's a reflection.
Wow.
And crucially, God's pursuit is constant. Even if a spouse isn't responding or isn't doing their part,
Yeah.
we are still commended to love the other for their benefit. Why? Because Christ continually pursued me even when I did not respond. Our call is to reflect that kind of relentless, undeserved love.
That's incredibly challenging, but also incredibly hopeful.
It is. It sets a very high bar, but one sourced in divine grace, not human effort alone.
Okay, so we've really journeyed quite a distance here from that universal human ache for love all the way to this intricate divine design behind marriage, revealing God's own love as the actual blueprint.
Pulling back the curtains, so to speak.
Yeah. The mystery of real, profound love, of a marriage that actually thrives. It seems it's unlocked when we grasp that it's meant to be a reflection of God's passionate, unconditional pursuit of us. It really does come full circle.
Beautifully put.
So for you listening, where does this leave us with our relationships day to day? It sounds like it means we're invited to choose life, as Deuteronomy puts it, by loving the Lord your God, by obeying his voice, and by holding fast to him, for this is your life.
That foundational connection.
Right. That deeper relationship with our Creator seems to be the ultimate source, the wellspring from which all other love, especially in marriage, is actually meant to flow and hopefully flourish.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with, something the sources really emphasize. Everyone is just like me, looking for someone who truly understands and will love them. We all share that deep longing.
Yeah.
So, if this ultimate unconditional love truly originates with our Creator, how might developing a deeper personal relationship with him transform not just our own lives, but also empower us to actually fulfill that highest calling within our closest human relationships, marriage, family, friendships? How might it help make them genuine places of refuge and joy, exactly as God intended?
The place to run to.
Exactly. Maybe reflect on John 14:21. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and will disclose myself to him.
It's this profound invitation, isn't it, to a love that satisfies us and then flows through us. Definitely a deep dive worth continuing long after we finish talking.